Here we are again, guys. Another down to the wires. You can see behind me, they're still talking about it. The Smith pitcher for NC State. Kentucky getting the 5-4 walk-off bottom of the 10th win in the College World Series. First game for Kentucky. They will advance on Monday to play the winner of a team they'll be familiar with, either Texas A&M or Florida, winner of tonight's game. But how about Nick Mangione and his Kentucky Wildcat team, guys? Again, 5-4 Kentucky. I mean, just looking at it initially, NC State out hit Kentucky 10-9. One error for NC State, but I thought Kentucky was a little lackluster in their performance today. It was a very Kentucky type game. It's funny, Kentucky hits a walk-off home run, and they had the least amount of home runs coming into the College World Series of all 8 teams. They kind of had a Kentucky type feel. I mean, you felt like Kentucky was in true Kentucky form, cruise control when they're up 3-1 in the 7th. And then who was it? It was the Garrett Pennington kid, correct? No, Alec Makarewicz hits the home run to tie it up, go 3-3, and from back forth there. I mean, I thought Kentucky was in full control. Kentucky had some errors, some base running mistakes, some missed signs, as we saw in the bottom of the 10th there. Thought they lost control a little bit of the strike zone. Kentucky didn't list an error. I mean, he got one for NC State, but Kentucky, remember that foul ball? They got lucky. It was Trot Nixon's son at the plate. Nixon, what was his first name? Looking at Luke Nixon, plays left field. He had the foul ball. It ran into the first baseman. The catcher didn't get away from it. So I thought there was a big mistake as well. I thought it was definitely Ryan Nicholson's ball. Devin Burks, the catcher there. You got to let – if the first baseman's coming on, then the pitcher needs to get the hell out of the way no matter what. He was a little bit in the way. And then the catcher's got to get out of dodge there if the first baseman has a full head of steam of it. That's definitely the first baseman's ball. But, man, what – just very Kentucky tenacious style, though. A little sloppy. Kentucky usually doesn't beat itself. But they did play their best ball, but still won. They will advance Monday. They're in the winner's bracket. So that's all you can ask. I thought, obviously, Ryan Nicholson with the fantastic play today at first base. I thought he played well. You had the home run there at the end by Daly. Mitchell Daly hitting the walk-off home run for Kentucky. I didn't think Kentucky hit bad. I mean, they had 9 hits. I mean, if you told him that, I didn't think Kentucky really pitched that poor either. Trey came in 6 2/3, gave up 9 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned. Cameron O'Brien pitched an inning. Jackson Nove came in for a third of an inning. So did Robert Hogan. And I thought Johnny Hummel went an inning in 2/3. Gave up no hits. He gave up 1 base on balls and 2 strikeouts. I thought Johnny Hummel did a really good job for Kentucky there. Kind of that back half of the game. I think people forget about those guys because they're more so because Kentucky's the home team. If you're a Kentucky fan, if you're just a casual watcher, you're like, I just want us to score in the bottom and walk away here. I just want us to win this game. Let's score. You're not really worried about defensive. That's just how fans think. There's nothing wrong with that. But I thought he came in and did a phenomenal job. Again, Johnny Hummel going an inning in 2/3. Just felt like he was in full control except that 1 base on balls. But, man, thank you, John Murray, for tuning in. John says those umpires stole that game from NC State in the 7th and 8th innings. I mean, there's some plays here and there. I mean, you talking about the balk and stuff like that. I thought he did go lateral. I mean, I did think he came, stopped, went lateral. You got to do a complete turn, and you got to throw to second, as people know now. I thought it was a balk. I was surprised the umpire caught it. You notice the guy on second for Kentucky caught it immediately. It was like, yeah, and went to third. I thought it was the right call, John. I thought it was the right call. But Kentucky, man, just kind of plays these styles that maybe a little bit lulls you to sleep, but they have a lot of mature players just between Wall-Smith, Petrie, Burks, who's played a lot, has struggled a little bit for a guy hitting there in the 3-hole, the catcher, Devin Burks. Mitchell Daly hits a home run. Ryan Nicholson can bring that power as well. I saw it as a group. Kentucky just battle-tested team there, man. And again, I thought NC State, they were my sleeper to win this thing. They're my sleeper. It's going to be tough to come out of the winner's bracket. Like a lot of people have said. On all these broadcasts, Ben McDonald, Burke, you hear all these guys. It's the first time in a long time you feel like all 8 teams going into it could have won it. Now that's changed now because we obviously know some teams have lost games and some hadn't. But I thought NC State was a legit – could have won the thing. It's going to be tough now. But I like where Kentucky's at. Remember, going into this, I had Tennessee versus Kentucky I mean, all three of these games have come down to the wire in walk-off fashion with the home team winning. Just a phenomenal game. Just a fun game. Only one error between. Again, I think you could have gave Kentucky one in, what was it, the ninth inning, I think, when they dropped that one. Just a little miscommunication there. Also had some other notes. Again, just reacting to Kentucky's 5-4 win. Kentucky advancing to Monday night's winners bracket game. Remember, Nick Mangio talks about there's kind of a whatever offense. That's kind of a good way to put it. Just kind of, we're whatever. We kind of manufacture runs the way we can. I actually thought Mangio was going to bunt there after the leadoff guy, after who got the walk. Who got the walk there for Kentucky? There was Devin Burks got the walk. He got the walk, and I thought he was going to bunt over, but he didn't. And then you had it looked like, I don't know if you're calling a straight steal there for Devin Burks. I think that was a missed sign. I think it was a hit and run. It's just a missed sign. Again, I thought they made a good point on the broadcast. That could have been batter's interference as well. But that's a good play by Kozar, the catcher there for NC State. But, I mean, just looking through some notes I was taking throughout the game, just some things that stood out that if we hadn't already covered. A low-scoring game, Vegas had the over-under 8.5. It went over 9. I was debating whether to go under. I did take Kentucky in the bet, so I've won that. I'm 3-0, guys, in the bets. I took North Carolina, I took Tennessee, and I took Kentucky. But no means am I bragging here, guys. I could easily be 0-3. It could have went the other way there. But, yeah, Kentucky just playing a little sloppy. I thought runners in scoring position. That was another one. Kentucky was what? 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done probably in the next winners bracket game against either Texas A&M or Florida. That's not going to get it done for Kentucky there overall. Nick Mangio would tell you that. So Kentucky they probably feel like, look, we didn't play our best ball today, but you know what? In middle of June, we're in Omaha, and we're still winning baseball games and not playing our best ball. We will take that. So the things that kind of stand out from Kentucky from today, just defense is usually better than that. I thought they would steal maybe a little more, and I think that had to do with Kozar, the catcher for NC State, being one of the better catchers in the country. As you saw at the end, granted, it was the catcher stealing for Kentucky on a missed sign. Threw him out by a mile. Wasn't even a great throw. But I thought Kentucky wasn't all locked in, missed some signals, some errors, and I think the 1 for 8 runners in scoring position. Pitching was solid overall. What they have? 6 walks, Kentucky. I think NC State had 4. Just off the top of my head without looking at it. You'd like to get that down a little bit. But overall, I think the pitching by committee did a good enough job to keep them in the game, which is it showed, keep them in the game, get them to extras, get them to the bottom of the ninth with a chance to tie it up. Nicholson gets up there, ties it up on the first pitch. I think the pitching gave them a shot to stay in it, win the game 5-4. So just runners in scoring position. You got to be a little bit more locked in. Can't be missing signals this late in the season. But just previewing what's next for Kentucky. They'll play either the winner of tonight's game, Florida or Texas A&M, as you know, both 2 SEC teams. Kentucky did not play Texas A&M this year, did not play Texas A&M in the regular season, but did take 2 of 3 against Florida, winning the Friday night opener in 10, I think 12-11. They got beat pretty bad, I think, the Saturday night one. And then they won in extra innings against Florida in Gainesville to win the series in Game 3. That wasn't that long ago. That series was May 10th through May 12th, so just over a month ago. Kentucky fans. But it's kind of a back and forth game. I remember watching that series. But, yeah, the Kentucky Wildcats, guys, getting the 5-4 10-inning win. The SEC stays undefeated 2-0. There's going to be an SEC team. There's going to be 3 SEC teams in the winners bracket, inevitably, because we got 2 SEC teams coming up. But Kentucky, again, man, just got to keep chipping away, finding ways to win in middle of June. And that's what they're doing. Was it pretty? No, but it hadn't been pretty for anyone so far in this Omaha. And, man, how about just overall Omaha? Just delivering. I mean, like I mentioned, I just tweeted. Go follow me at Mott10 Sports. Remember, I'm your host, Dave Shumate, coming at you here from the SEC Unfiltered, giving you the reaction. I tweeted, hey, a Hollywood movie director would not believe this script. The first 3 games in Omaha, really the first year where all 8 have a chance to win the whole thing, it all comes down to walk-off wins. In just crazy fashion. I mean, the Tennessee game, I don't need to go into that. Go check out that reaction if you're interested in following SEC baseball, Tennessee fan, Kentucky fan. Hey, I got Tennessee, Kentucky beating in Omaha, so we got it going. But just, yeah, Eddie, you're right. Eddie Congress. That was the most un-Kentucky way to win the game ever. I mean, Kentucky came into Omaha last out of 8 teams in home runs. They had the lowest amount of home runs entering Omaha out of the 8 teams. So it kind of shocked. But I had a weird feeling. That's easy to say now, hindsight 2020. But when he got thrown out, I'm like, Daly's probably going to hit a bomb here. Just watch this. Watch this. That's how it's going to go down. But again, guys, appreciate you joining us on this reaction. Kentucky getting the 5-4 win over the NC State Wolfpack. They would advance to Monday night's winners bracket against none other than an SEC team, either Florida or Texas A&M. Remember, Kentucky took 2 or 3 in Gainesville just over a month ago, like I just mentioned. But we'll be back later for the reaction of Texas A&M, Florida. Who gets to go meet Kentucky? But remember, I'm your host, Dave Shumate, former college football personnel guy in the SEC for 8-9 years. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We got about close to 8,000-9,000 views from last night's Tennessee's walk-off reaction in Omaha with their win last night over Florida State. So, guys, like, subscribe, all SEC things, 24/7, 365. Our guy, Chris Phillips, has boots on the ground in Omaha, so go give him and at SEC Unfiltered on Twitter a follow, guys. Appreciate you joining us. I'll see you later tonight.